Your life.
Welcome to Slow News Day Live. My name is Steve Boykin, and I'm here in cold, wet, damp, frigid, half burnout Boulder Creek, California. I'm so ready to leave. I'm so ready to leave. Thank you for being here with us tonight. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna get into some weird shit. Joining me, as always, at least for the last month or so, is my amazing co-host Glory Jones. What's happening, Glory?
Hey, I feel some type of way this morning. I thank the dude on Trapo Trap House. Like, bro, like, I'll do anything to, like, spread the word about Assange, but, like, I thank the dude on Trapo Trap House. Like, I feel some type of
all
way.
super chats tonight are going to go for memory bleach for Glory Jones. We're going to go ahead and thank you in advance for your support. We are joined this evening by James from Montauk and his lovely wife Stevie, who hosts Redneckonomics, and I had a wonderful time on that show a couple of weeks back. So we are delighted to have them join us this evening. How are you, folks? Don't everybody answer at once. It gets confusing that way.
Ladies first.
Absolutely
What a
great,
sweet guy.
considering the circumstances. Good during an apocalypse, several apocalypses.
The polyocalypse,
The pandemopolis.
the panocalypse. Yeah. How about you, James?
Oh, it's just coming in from so many sides. It's hard to keep up. I swear to gosh. And it seems like they've created it that way just to make it confusing as possible. It's insane. But I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on, you guys. This is awesome.
Hell yeah, man. It's good to have you here. I had a hell of a day at work, man, and I really wish that Rockfin had an Android app. I was trying to listen to my good buddy Jason Burmis's show earlier today because he had covered a press conference that Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell, who's now Trump's attorney, was Michael Flynn's attorney during his investigation. Now she's looking into election and voter fraud because the right can't seem to let go of voter fraud. And oh hell, Josh, can you just play the clip? Will we be able to hear it?
You should be able to hear it, but no promises. All right.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and mute.
Everybody mute for this.
Here and uncovering more by the day is the massive influence of communist money through Venezuela, Cuba, and likely China in the interference with our elections here in the United States. The Dominion voting systems, the Smartmatic technology software, and the software that goes in other computerized voting systems here as well, not just Dominion, were created in Venezuela at the direction of Hugo Chavez to make sure he never lost an election after one constitutional referendum came out the way he did not want it to come out. We have one very strong witness who has explained how it all works. His affidavit is attached to the pleadings of Lynn Wood in the lawsuit he filed in Georgia. It is a stunning, detailed affidavit because he was with Hugo Chavez while he was being briefed on how it worked. He was with Hugo Chavez when he saw it operate to make sure the election came out his way. That was the express purpose for creating this software. He has seen it operate, and as soon as he saw the multiple states shut down the voting on the night of the election, he knew the same thing was happening here, that was what had gone on.
Muted, Steve.
There's quite a bit to unpack there, and before we really go into it, I want to say that I have voiced my opinion here on this show and on a handful of other shows that I did not believe that Donald Trump or his legal team was serious about challenging the election results. I think that this is purely another piece of theater to ratchet up more tension and division in the electorate. And Sidney Powell's comments there, it just solidified it for me. I'm going to open it up to the panel here and see what your reaction to that clip was.
Todos somos chavistas, like you know us. Hasta siempre. Mi abuelo era Che Guevara. Like, tú sabes eso. You know how we do it. But like, in all seriousness, I said the same thing on Nico's show as well. I literally said, like, by shrinking back into this bullshit sphere of partisanship and returning to a framing where everything is left bad, the same way that the left would go right bad. They're taking attention away from something that could really be a post-partisan issue like election integrity. So from that standpoint, it just solidifies the fact that Trump has no intention to fight. He has every intention to remain a toy for the oligarchs. So hasta siempre.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like we're supposed to be trusting Trump to do the right thing. And the thing is like sometimes he says the right thing, but it's never for the right reason. Like it's always about like what's in his best interest. He's never put the people in his best interest. Neither have any of the people in government at this point. So, I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, we're supposed to trust a guy that's looking out for himself to do the right thing. So I don't think that, I think maybe he's holding out a little bit just to see what kind of deal he can get. But other than that, I have no faith that Trump's going to actually, stick with it in order, because he's going to have to go up against like the CIA, Department of Homeland Security. He's going to go against, all the deep state people, the politicians, the corporations, media. And I just don't think that he's going to do that.
Okay, but he's got the ghost of Hugo Chavez that is now his main enemy. And apparently all of the communist dollars that floated in to this election from the heavily sanctioned robbed of $1.5 billion by the UK, in the middle of a coup, Venezuela, he's got to battle communist dollars from Cuba for some reason. Again, another just absolutely loaded country, and likely China. Now Sidney Powell can't, obviously confirm that. She didn't have a seance with a former head of state from China to determine where the money went, like she apparently did with Hugo Chavez. But holy fuck, dude, if you've got concrete proof of election fraud, not necessarily like, okay, we found 2 people that voted twice in this one state, voter fraud, or mail-in ballot fraud, which is, I guess, a form of voter fraud, but on a scale that it can manipulate the election. That's election fraud, especially if it's the state organizing it and not a particular candidate. But if you've got that, and you can make the case that electronic voting machines, no matter where they come from, they all have the source code that comes from the original Diebold machines that handed George W. Bush not 1 but 2 elections. Why then? Why would you attack it from the angle that imaginary ghosts set forth a plan into motion almost 20 years ago so that this one election, because they don't mention any other elections. They certainly don't mention what happened in the primary. They don't mention what happened in 2016. They don't mention what happened in 2004. They don't mention any of this shit. So we're supposed to believe that the ghost of Hugo Chavez sat on this election software for nearly 20 years just to rip it the second term away from Donald Trump. James, what do you think?
You're muted, by the way.
Oh, you're muted.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I clicked the button. Now I can see my entire face. It's really scary. So if you let's just take an example. You have Bernie Sanders back in 2016, who bent over in July of 2016 to Hillary Clinton. So it was almost, it was, and then you have the identical thing happening, you know, in 2019, 2020 during the primary, where he didn't prepare. Like, you didn't think they were going to collude against you or rig against you or do all these things. What gets me about Trump right now, the guy being, you know, all knowing and powerful, he's not prepared for any of this. I mean, there are actual videos and YouTubes and articles that the Democrats are saying we're going to freaking actually create a fraud process, an organization to take back America. And how would you not prepare for that? Instead, they're going to use Hugo Chavez, the ghost of Hugo Chavez, and it's kind of telling, only for this biggest reason. I don't think he's all in on this. You have to come to that assessment, because if he is, and if Bernie was, they would have had their plans. I mean, this is 3D chess, and it doesn't seem like any of them are actually playing that game, or at least 2 or 3 moves ahead. I just don't see it.
Yeah, and people have this kind of notion. It's like, I kind of say this a lot, how Trump and Bernie supporters are way more alike than they think they are, particularly in the aspect that they're following a cult of personality that isn't as anti-establishment as they believe it is. They have the perception that like both of them were fighting, but the fact of the matter is they didn't. Bernie Sanders literally had volunteers within his own campaign, like Fiorella Isabel, telling him about documented instances of election fraud by the DNC, not just like Iowa. Like they stopped after Iowa straight up, despite the fact that it was still happening. And then also with Trump, you have documented instances of election fraud happening in places like LA County with a complete lack of transparency. And their responses are from Bernie, it was just straight up nothing. From Trump, it's like, oh, the radical left is trying to steal this election and the ghost of Hugo Chavez is coming back to take over Dominion. It's like, really, really, bro? By making this about some nonsensical, radical left, communist Democrats type shit, you're not getting anywhere with the issue.
No, that's a terrible point, for sure. Here's the thing. Go ahead. You wanted to go. Go.
I mean, it just absolutely undermines everything that he's trying to do. And I was watching a previous show, one of the recent ones that y'all just did, and you were pointing that out, Gloria, and I was just like, yes, exactly. I mean, it's just like, okay, so he'll say one true thing, and then everything after that just ruins the true thing that he said. So, yeah, they're doing these things to flip votes, weight votes, all these different tactics. And then he'll follow up by the radical left. Where? Point to him. Where? Bernie Sanders, the one that supported Biden and Hillary Clinton? We have no radical left. AOC? No. None of them. I mean, the most radical left is, people like us out there,
Yeah, I wasn't saying your point was terrible. What I was saying is their point is terrible with the ghost of Hugo Chavez.
Right.
So it's mind-blowing that they're going to go in this direction where now they're just filing simple lawsuits that they definitely know that they're going to get shot down because they're in democratic states. It's like you're it's like you're trying to throw a rock into a pond that doesn't exist. And I'm seeing it everywhere. The only thing I do know that they're starting to rely on is they're really going after Dominion because it's in a different country, and I guess that's illegal, or that it's unconstitutional election wise or something, or
no, it allows for them to blame an invisible or overseas enemy, and it takes the focus off of the fact that the U.S. in general doesn't have free and fair elections. It's not like Rudy Giuliani doesn't know that we've had consecutive rigged primaries in the Democratic Party and that they largely used electronic voting machines to do that. He knows that. Sidney Powell knows that. What they're doing is fucking theater. What they're doing is adding to the manufactured confusion that the media gins up every single day. And Caitlin Johnstone, before the election, said we're about to watch Russiagate turn into Chinagate. And lo and behold, we've got now Sidney Powell saying, well, likely Chinese dollars were involved because, look, man, if you have a ghost commie running your election interference op, they are not limited by things like borders. They're not limited by things like long distances to travel. They're everywhere. They're a ghost commie. They can just show up. Apparently, they can also hold bags of cash or conduct wire transfers or whatever it did. You know what? However those communist dollars moved. and throw an election. But forget to give the Democrats a majority in the House or the Senate.
Yeah.
Has anybody explained that on Trump's side, like how it's possible that a Canadian Venezuelan software company being ran by the ghost of Hugo Chavez was possible, like how it was possible for them to only rig the presidency, but not the down ticket races? I mean, because from where I'm sitting, it makes Joe Biden's victory look much, much more suspect. That people would go out and only vote for Joe Biden and then ignore the rest of the ticket. That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. I would love to have somebody weigh in on this.
Like, this has some very strong, Lord of the Rings vibes. Like,
oh, real quick, sorry, James, if you mute while she's talking, that echo might disappear.
Yeah.
Might.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't know that we could summon ghost armies. So I mean, if we can summon the undead, I mean, who do we start with? I mean, let's start getting some people on our side. Let's start, some necromancy, I guess. I mean, it's so ridiculous. I mean, we're
going to bring back Che Guevara. We're going to bring back Eugene Debs. We're going to give Che Guevara some sensitivity training, though. I mean, dude had some thoughts. We're going back for Smedley Butler. We're going back for Emma Goldman. We're going back.
My man Fidel.
Huh?
Don't forget my man Fidel.
Oh no, Fidel Castro's still alive, and he's only 56. Yeah, I was listening to one of Sidney Powell's earlier press conferences where she went over that. Jesus Christ, dude. This is a fucking cartoon. I don't know if anybody knows that or not, but when we've got the main lawyer for Trump's legal team going after the Democrats or Democratic states for voter or election fraud, and the best they can do is ghost commies, we're fucked.
We live in the dumbest timeline, Steve. The dumbest timeline.
It is. It's not the worst, not the best by any stretch of the imagination, but holy fuck, is it the dumbest possible timeline? And if anyone knows how to train a marmot or a ferret or some sort of like weasel family member, get it to run into the Large Hadron Collider and force another hard reset, and at least we'll wind up in a different timeline. Like it can't be dumber. It can't be.
Can we just sacrifice like Dick Cheney instead?
Yeah, we definitely need to separate some atoms. This is just getting insane. And like I said, they make it confusing to the average MSNBC, CNN, Fox viewer. But if you're doing your own research, like Burma's, us, Convo Couch, the names go on. I'm not going to really give a shout out to too much research in regards to Jimmy Dore. Sorry about that, Jimmy. But in regards to this particular incident of the blatant fumbling of how to win an election or how to be prepared for an election is ridiculous. It's like watching a monkey fuck a football. It's ridiculous. And I keep seeing it over and over and again. The only thing is you want to think they have more clout, they have more pull, they have more resources, but it's clear that I don't think they're trying. I think this whole thing, like you're saying, Steve, like most of us are knowing, it's a stage. And just like the Senate hearings, in my opinion, are just a fucking dog and pony show. As I'm watching Fuckerberg on there answer these questions, Google and YouTube and Google, YouTube, Twitter and Facebook are all colluding together to put our narratives out there and screw the other side, et cetera, but nothing's fucking happening. You're still seeing it. You're still seeing the same thing over and over and over, and nothing's really changing. That's the biggest thing. They're staying. They have a mission. They have an agenda, whether it's Agenda 201 or the Great Reset or whatever the fuck's going on. But the only reason why they're doing this in the end run is for the money. It's always for the fucking money and the control of the money. I just see the way I see our political parties. It's not this mafia or that mafia. It's become one giant mafia, in my opinion. And they have these theatrical shows all the time, and it's just getting redundant at this point. Ridiculous.
Stevie, you're a redneckonomicist. Would you weigh in on this?
Yeah, I mean, everything, you gotta mute. Everything is basically, it's all based on the foundation of increased profit for shareholders. That's why we have the laws that we have. That's why we, stage these coups. That's why we, still implement colonization, within and without the United States. That's why we have, wars for profits, is because everything comes down to increasing the profit for shareholders. So, I mean, of course, our politicians are corrupt. The people, our employers are corrupt. I mean, from the top, 1%, all of it is corrupt. The deep state, nobody is on our side. So, I mean, we have to start looking internally for solutions and within our communities for solutions, because, I mean, none of these, we can't rely on any of these people to do the right thing. Even when they're telling us the truth some of the time, it's like, that's good. I mean, but it's like sifting through shit to find corn. I mean, you can do it, but what's the point? I mean, like, why are we turning to these MSNBC, Fox News, Bernie Sanders, Donald Trump's for solutions when, I mean, all we get is like crumbs of it. So
for that matter, why are people turning to the independent media outlets that are saying, if you dare question the results of the election, you're the same thing as a Russiagator?
You're a right-wing grifter. That's the new thing.
You're
now.
a right-wing grifter. You're a Nazi collaborator. You're just a secret Trump supporter, and the work that you've done for the last 4 years or 5 years or 3 years or whatever, it was all just a fucking charade so that you could reveal yourself as a Trump supporter after he already lost the election, not during, not when it was profitable to be an out loud Trump supporter, but after the fact. Like, look, dude, I don't say this like ever on the show, but fuck Jordan Sheridan. Fuck that guy for fucking like just taking his fucking Jello pudding hits and pulling them right out and showing the entire fucking world that he wants nothing more than to fucking wax Mehdi Hassan's asshole for money. It's just, it sucks.
If your protest coverage consists of going to the stupidest Trump supporters and specifically clipping out the stupidest of the stupidest Trump supporters and making that your protest coverage, then it's some dishonest bull crap. I'm saying that right there because, like, just listen, here's what you do. Because, newsflash, I've done it before and I'm fucking like half your age, Jordan. Fuck you. Like, you go up to these people, you ask them, okay, so why are you supporting Trump? Like, why this, why that? And just ask them questions. And then when they say, oh, it's because he's anti-establishment, that's when you can push back and say, okay, you know what? Actually, I want to push back on that because he's engineering the prosecution of Julian Assange. He has Mike Pompeo. He had John Bolton in his administration. He had all these neocons, and I just think that leaves me to not trust him. And then you ask them, and then you push back politely until they learn new shit, and then you can say, we need post-partisan solutions because we're not going to find anything within this paradigm of left and right. And listen, it doesn't happen every time. I can guarantee you that. But it needs to happen because otherwise these people aren't going to learn anything about like Julian Assange or who Trump really is because they have a perception of Trump that's completely dishonest and manufactured by allegedly independent media on the right and Fox News and Tucker Carlson. So that needs to be debunked, but you're not going to do that if you just go up to a select few of people and say, hey, you look dumb. Can you explain why? Like, it's so patronizing and you're not going to get anywhere with it. Because guess what? We don't have time to just like hunt for everyone that can agree with us and like not unite with the person right next to you, right in front of you on issues that are so important, like election integrity, like Julian Assange. We can't afford to be prissy little punk asses about it.
Excellent rant. Excellent rant.
Thank you.
That was a great rant. Okay. Okay. So right now we are dealing with theater, and I've heard this. If you watch any movie about a Holocaust or some war that's recent, you'll see a CNN newscaster. You'll see MSNBC newscaster or something like this. I truly believe Jordan Sheridan. I think it's almost like he's in it for the money. He keeps advertising. More followers, more members, get on our list, you know, and I'm seeing that a lot lately. You know, I mean, I've been doing this since 2013 or 2014, Blog Talk Radio, Monotalk and all this stuff. But my goal is just to take all the information from both sides and make sure that you get a perspective from not just the left or the right, but the independents and other people as well. But when you watch Jordan Sheridan, not to piss on him too hard, right? But he's completely and thoroughly moving in the direction of what, I don't know, Rachel Maddow would do it sometimes. And Kyle Kalinske, you know what? I got to tell you this dream. I had a nightmare. I woke up in the middle of the night, and I woke up, and she can attest to this. Out of nowhere, I said, fuck you, Kyle Kalinske. And she goes, oh, my God, you know what you just said? And I go, no, I was sleeping. She goes, you said, fuck you, Kyle Kalinske. And I go, because you know what? I think Kyle Kalinske is trying to get Chris Hayes' fucking job, honestly. But the media out there is just bullshit. Most of us that are paying attention totally know this. The thing that's bothering me is anytime we try to get, and like it said to the Air Force pilots, if you're not catching flack, you're not getting close to the target. That's why they're censoring people. That's why they're banning people, taking platforms down, the whole 9 yards. It's as soon as you're getting hacked by them, in a sense, that's when you know you're pushing the right button. That means you're fucking close. And we're seriously close. The only thing is we need bigger audiences. We've got to get out there. I've been saying this 99% march, getting everybody out, both sides, to stop, at least get the fucking money out of politics. I mean, where does it come from? Well, I mean, if you get money out of politics, I think you're doing something, right? I mean, we can all at least agree on that. Even if you're on the right or the left or you're an independent, then they're just doing their job and they're fucking, DMV employees at that point, which they should be. But because this money flows and there's all this dough coming left and right now, big pharma is just filling their pockets and COVID's coming out and all these vaccines and all this other shit. They keep going in the direction of where the money's coming from and how to make sure that their donors, the donor class, the corporate elite 1%, are always taken care of. I mean, Represent.us does this great video, and I'll just end with this, where we no longer have legislative influence. None of us. The 99% has no influence whatsoever anymore. So I think at this point, because we've let this drag on for so long, and I apologize to my kids all the time, I say, guys, I fucked up. I voted like an idiot. I didn't protest enough. I apologize. But we've got to get out on the streets. I mean, Burma's brought it up. Luke's brought it up from We Are Change. Ryan Christian's brought it up. Derek Bros brought it up. Everybody's bringing this up. We've all got to come together and at least get money out of politics and stop this fucking charade. Because they want us divided. They want us to be separated. They literally want us to physically be separated by 6 fucking feet. That's how bad they want us. It's ridiculous.
So, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, COVID. That's a hot topic that we're gonna get.
I want to, and we'll get to that. We will. We'll cover it because it directly relates to what you were talking about. I'm gonna take. I'm gonna read off something from the chat here real quick because I feel like, even though I think I've made this point, it apparently hasn't been made clear. Silence is violence. Go Vegan says, I'm tired of everyone fighting over who's more progressive than the other. I'm not a fucking progressive. I stopped being gullible when I was like 7. There's the progressives are the most easily griftable, just fucking willing to be taken for a ride voting block that we have. And I say that knowing full well that a good portion of the conservatives and the Republican Party honestly and sincerely believe that the president is picked by Jesus as long as it's their president. Progressives are more gullible than that. And I'm not here to take your money as a progressive influencer. I'm not here to tell you that everything will be okay as long as we can vote harder and vote in more progressives, because then we'll get the kind of legislation we need. No, dude, that's a fucking dream. And the people that are telling you that want you to stay in imagination land so you'll keep giving them your fucking money. That's not what this show is. That's not what we do here. What we do is we cover the shit that those fucks won't touch. We try to yank you out of your partisan mindset. We try to get you to look things in a post-partisan way so that you understand that you don't need some pencil-thin mustache fucking rich boy telling you how you should feel about something. You can look at primary source material. You can look at raw data. We do it right here on this show in real time, all the fucking time. And you don't need me to tell you how to think about it, because you can look at it and make up your own fucking mind. This isn't about who's a better progressive. This is about getting people off of fucking media that traps them, that keeps them in a fucking bubble, that lends them some semblance, however fucking thin, however unrealistic, of confirmation bias and the protection, the perceived protection that comes from that. It's not about who's a better progressive. Fuck those guys. I don't even know who this is, but hey, how's it going?
Hey, Steve.
Oh, sorry, guys. I was a little late. That was a great thing. That was awesome, Steve. That was awesome. That was fucking awesome, bro.
And to your point, James, I want to say that yes, getting money out of politics is a good idea. It is. That's not going to happen legislatively. That is never going to happen legislatively. And anybody pushing that you can get money out of politics by voting in better people who will do that is selling you something that isn't worth the fucking paper it's printed on. We have an oligarchy with an illegitimate system being supported underneath it off the backs of gullible fucking people who need that hope. They need that hope porn in their lives. They need to be able to believe that the system that they've given, time, energy, years of their life to is going to reward them. And it's fucking not. Our choices 4 years ago were a TV game show host in the WWE Hall of Fame and a fucking literal monster. This time, we got to see that WWE Hall of Famer turn into a war criminal, become Israel's bitch, and fucking get bent over by the deep state, and in most cases, helping them do it, tying his own hands to his ankles, and a fucking guy who's a career war criminal with instant grits where his brain should be. You are never going to vote your way out of an oligarchy. You are never going to vote your way into a representative republic. That's something that has to be happened after the previous regime has fallen. And that's where we are right now. Hello, person I don't know. I'm Steve. This is Gloria over there. We host the show. Who are you?
I'm Mitch. I'm out in Iowa.
You what?
I'm out in Iowa.
Iowa? Which part?
Northeast.
Okay, that's opposite of where Burmis is. But yeah, all right. All right. I had some good friends that fortunately got the fuck out of Council Bluffs a few years ago. I'm just gonna let the awkward silence hang here for a minute.
Okay.
I was about to yell at you.
Okay, I'll go off Steve's rant. We're not a progressive channel. I stopped being a progressive the moment I realized that their inherent white savior complex would stifle out any dissident voices of Black people or people of color, because it's a problem. I'm good friends with Fee and Nico House, and I'm not gonna sit and just like rock with a movement that gaslights them out of my fucking mind. I'm not gonna get gaslit out of my fucking mind myself, because it's annoying as hell. And they do that to any person of color that thinks differently, that doesn't want to support thy holy Saint Bernard, and it's pretty fucking annoying. So it's something I'm not going to rock with, and it feeds into their foreign policy. I've said this many times. They have a tendency to throw any brown country under the bus for the purpose of advancing Medicare for all, with a vision that's entirely still legitimizing an imperialist empire. And that's just disgusting. And as a member of the Caribbean diaspora, I can't rock with that either. And like Steve said, it's also a lot of just gullible people as well. And I stopped calling myself a progressive. It's that simple.
look, progressive. That word is useless. To me, it doesn't mean anything anymore. Activism is definitely, we're at that stage. Steve, I totally agree. I think we should try to get money out of politics. Getting somebody to actually do it, that's a whole different fucking ballgame. I get that for sure. But if we do decide to storm the gates, if we do decide to march and pull together, maybe we'll get what Martin Luther King wanted over 50 years ago that we still don't have. You know, we've got to be at that point. And by the way, I just want to say, Snork, sorry I got the link to you late. My apologies. I was trying to set up. By the way, this is Snork, his nickname, also Mitch, engineer. He's just a plethora of knowledge, in my professional opinion. And thank you for being here.
No problem.
All right. So, are you familiar with any of the voting things that are happening right now, Snork, at all?
Not really. It's been pretty wild here. We're the COVID's hitting pretty bad. Over half of my students have COVID.
Uh-oh.
Oh, damn.
That sucks. All right. So here's I just gotta say this. If you're out there and you're listening and you're paying attention, look, we're trying to find solutions. We're trying to get a grasp, just like you are, on what's happening. And it's all over the place. But bottom line is we've got to hit the streets. We've got to get out there and we've got to start marching. You could hold our hand, arm in arm. You know, ants don't fucking serve grasshoppers. You know, that's basically what it comes down to. We outnumber them like a bazillion to one. Right now, there's 644 made billionaires that just made trillions of dollars in the past 6 to 8 months because of these lockdowns and all this other shit that they're doing, moving their money around and shit. I mean, the ratio is huge. 7.8 billion people against 644. I think we'll win. I think in some way we'll have a good chance. They may pay off a few militias here and there and whatever, you know. And I don't want things to get physical, but I'm just saying I don't know if what other way is we can't, like, voting somebody in to do it. Well, once they get into that position, like Tulsi Gabbard said, they show you what you can do, what you're going to get. They make sure that, you know, you do certain things for the party, and you will never concede or you will never cooperate with the other side. I mean, when she's on Rogan, like what, a year and a half ago or something like that, that's the thing she said. So no matter who you throw in there, they've already got the system set up to where nothing's going to fucking change.
Yeah.
Not to jump subjects too much, and we can come back to it, but I saw something in the chat saying they had no idea what my political leaning or glories was. I'm going to show you the results of the political compass test that I took.
Oh, I want to see this.
There we go. I'm down here.
I can't see it. Wait.
That's me.
Is that the fucking chart? I'm close.
So I hope that clears it up, at least on my end. I don't think there's a label for that. Not that I want one, but that's where my political leanings fall.
Yeah, and I mean, to go off of what James was saying again, even if there's like not many actions in your area, just because I know a lot of people fell asleep and it's annoying that like there's not actions for you to go to, but like even if there's not many actions in your area or you're like hesitant about organizing yourself, and I feel that because I'm a socially awkward person, so I'm kind of the same way, then literally just go out and talk to people and plant those ideas in them. Plant those ideas like, hey, like we need to think about the next steps of, you know, protesting in front of Google, or we need to think about going to, ex-congressperson's house, or we need to think about going to like City Hall and having a protest there, and just start planting those ideas within people, and just literally just talking to people of like all like of whoever. Just talk to anyone you see, and you can go to a protest to do that, but you can also go to like a marketplace to do that. And just like, there's all kinds of, you can make like little flyers too. Like I do that with the Julian Assange flyers. If I don't feel like, really having a nice segue, because in case if you haven't noticed from my intros and outros, they're pretty scuffed. So I bring flyers, and that's a really easy way to just get people to go into it and to just talk to them about Julian Assange. And from there, after I talk to them about that, then we can also get to talking about, other issues, and then get to talking about protesting those issues and just planting the seeds of those ideas within people. And, start small and then you build up. And I'm 20, so I have a bit of time. I mean, the issues don't, but I do.
Well, the French people tend to get what they want. They've got a 36-hour work week, or is it a 34-hour work week now? Because they do get out in the streets. The Yellow Vest movement, that's nothing new to them. But I'm concerned that on January 23rd, we're not going to be able to protest anymore. We're thinking that we've gotten rid of a tyrant, and that we're walking into somebody that is going to be extremely friendly. I was trying to change the Democratic Party within, and I was called and said, you voted in the or we have a caucus. You voted for the caucus for Bernie. We need to have you change your vote or leave the party. They didn't want me to just in the future vote for Joe Biden or Pete Buttigieg, although Pete Buttigieg was behind Bernie. The options we were given were Pete Buttigieg and Biden. Not Bernie wasn't even a consideration. So I just left the party.
Well, yeah. Did you at least be like, okay, I need you to find the brownest part of my ass and kiss it?
No.
You're a much nicer man than me.
They just kept on. They couldn't believe that I actually left. Just what?
Well, it's so out of bounds for. Yeah, and I know a little bit about the Iowa Democratic Party. I know a little bit about the way they run their caucuses there. My brother grew up in Iowa. He lived in Cedar Rapids for like all of my childhood. Yeah, I'm familiar with it, but it is like people forget because of the whole Iowa nice thing that the Iowa caucus is one of the most like gangster fucking institutions on the planet. Those folks are not trying to play around, and the Democratic Party wants exactly what Donald Trump wanted out of his cabinet initially, out of the people closest to his campaign, and that is absolute, unquestioning loyalty. And if not, there are a stack of consequences for you to pay.
Yeah, during the caucuses, people would not even go to go see Joe Biden. I mean, they would be empty. They would have to fake a crowd for him. Amy Klobuchar was probably the worst. We have about 7 homeless people. This is a town of about 6,000 people. And the 7 homeless people, when she was offering free meals, free breakfast for anybody to come talk to her, nobody would even show up, not even the homeless. She put it right there, hoping that she'd get somebody to come in and talk. Well, I guess she did get one person. She got a 9-year-old girl, but all these people, and I think the one that caught me the most was since I was trying to do my best to be fair to everyone, I had a Bernie placard, and I went to Cedar Rapids to a large Democratic Party thing with supposed to be for all the candidates. I went to the Tulsi van and picked up a poster to put on our. We have a trailer that we were towing in parades, and I wanted to be sure that Tulsi had one of her posters up on the trailer as well. And as I was walking back, I was basically attacked by both the Warren and the Harris people that Tulsi was not a woman of color like Warren was.
What?
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to repeat that.
Well, the Warren people were the ones that started. They were telling me that I was just a horrible racist because Tulsi was not a woman of color like Warren was.
This
That
reminds
was
me
back when she was still pretending to be an Indian.
This reminds
Is that
me of
did that really happen, or are you just joking? Because that's
That
like,
really happened.
you got to tell
Yeah.
you got to tell the Cynthia McKinney story, Steve.
So yeah, I did. In 2008, I had people call me a red. Not many. I did a handful of people that would hurl the racist accusation at me because I didn't vote for Barack Obama. I voted for Cynthia McKinney, and they did not understand that Cynthia McKinney was a black woman from Georgia. Apparently, they thought she was a school teacher from New England or something like that, and so they called me a racist. And once I was like, "You get that that's a black woman." Right? Like in terms of playing identity politics bingo, I just beat you. You want to retract that and like you just hate black people. I gotta go.
it's the McKinney, Cynthia McKinney.
Right.
I thought she was Irish or something.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's like, how fucking racist is that to where you don't even know who Cynthia McKinney is, and because there's an Irish last name, you automatically assume this is a white woman. How fucking racist of you is that? Did you only pull the lever for Barack Obama because he was black? Did you only pull it halfway because his mom's white? Like, how did that work? Can you explain it to me? Oh, I'm the asshole now. Okay. Does that mean you're leaving? Can you go? Can you do, Jesus Christ, dude. It is.
Imagine what they come up with a Jamaican American college student supporting a female combat veteran who's also a woman of color. They pull the craziest shit out of their ass. It's like, well, you're a self-hating Jamaican. What the hell? Or you're a crazy conspiracy theorist, secret Trump supporter, you, and it's like, no, I was just roasting Donald Trump the other day.
So do
They
self-hating
collaborate.
Jamaicans show up everywhere on time? Is that how that works?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know either, because I'm not one.
Here's a looper. I'm Polynesian. They're like, they don't know what to do. They're like, oh shit, he's Polynesian. Oh god, we can't ding him on this or ding him on that. He's from fucking Polynesia.
I know, right? It's like, we can't get her on the race thing. We can't get her on the sex thing. Well, if Trump wins, he's gonna take away your affirmative action. It's like, really, bro? You think I'm in school because of affirmative action? Thanks for being more racist.
Right.
Well, my DNA test says I'm 1/16,000th Japanese, so I am here to represent the Asians.
And we thank you for that. Konbanwa.
I am more Japanese than Elizabeth Warren is Indian.
Yeah, definitely.
I am gonna go ahead and not make that joke.
So you just got your. I actually, for Stevie, I got her birthday present was it Me and 23 or was it Heritage, right? It was yeah, it was My Heritage, and you know how everybody tells you, everybody says, oh, I'm this Cherokee or Iroquois or some kind of Indian somewhere in there. My brother did the test. We're the same. We have no American Indian. Sorry, We're Polynesian, Irish, and Scandinavian. But I just did it for her. Just not to get too far off topic. And she came back. What did you come back? Full.
I don't know, Scandinavian, a lot of white.
Yeah.
I'm from West Virginia. I mean, that's bound to happen.
And she was also told she was Indian too. So, but besides all the separation of color and races and tints and tans and all that, we're just in a conundrum of how to get people to understand the divide and conquer it should be a moot point. It for you to use your race, what party, your sex, your orientation, or what, all these other divisive mechanisms. That's not what's going to help our society, our species, help at least this country or any for that matter to evolve. It's not going to happen. We have to get away from all that stupidity, right? We're all just fucking humans. We want more joy and less fucking pain, bottom line, right? And we've got to find a way to come together. So I'm still trying to find out Steve, everybody, what is going to be the way to move forward? Because I'm thinking mass march, mass strike, everybody just saying, fuck this. Our entire governmental system is a fucking joke. And we have to take it back, storm the gates. That's where I'm at.
You got to do what you got to do. Basically everything. You've got to understand that a large segment of the population is never going to fucking get out in the street, even if they understand just how bad things are, or even have an inkling of how bad things are. And so you've got to encourage things like, well, if we're going back into lockdown, everybody needs to strike from home. If we're going to get a state issued currency UBI kind of situation, then you need to go on a tax strike. You need to have targeted strikes. You also need as many people in the streets as possible. But I think that we need the fucking everything, including the kitchen sink approach with this, because we've still got a giant portion of the country that is depressed as shit because they just had to cancel Thanksgiving with their family, but they're now afraid of being in the same room as their family members or their neighbors or their friends who they've invited every year for 15 or 20 years. Those people have now become the enemy because they've let themselves be paranoid of something that kills 0.04% of the people that get it.
Yeah.
Don't say that to Gavin Newsom real quick, by the way.
Gavin Newsom can suck my whole dick.
Hey, yo, hey, LA County, y'all some motherfucking hoes for this new travel advisory shit. Gavin McFuckass, you can go like kiss my ass, you can go suck Steve's dick, you can go choke on a sack of dicks, you can do all of that
Go
shit.
into that travel advisory, Glory.
Satchel of Richard's glory.
She might not be a Gavin Newsom fan.
Just to be
worst
fair
part about this is Gavin McFuckass is having his own little Thanksgiving and Christmas parties too, while simultaneously telling us, no, you can't go see your families, and if you do go out of state, LA County, make sure you quarantine for 2 weeks after. Like, please. Bro, I work with the basketball team, so when season starts, I'm gonna need to go out of state to travel, and you can bet your ass I'm not quarantining for 2 full weeks after that.
Right? I mean, Jesus, dude, we have like a 2-day event in DC. Really? I'm gonna show up the week of Christmas to quarantine in a place by myself in Washington, DC. And then I'm going going to come back to the Santa Cruz Mountains and sit in my house again for 2 more weeks. Like, I don't even do that when the power's out and it's raining. Like, I still get out and go places, unless it's a really good book. But like, other than that, I'm just fucking not. And I'm not going to sit and take a national mask mandate or a fucking jab from Pfizer or Moderna. I don't care who they put on camera to say that it has 90% efficacy. 2 months ago, 80% of the people that took it had negative side effects. You're going to perfect a vaccine in 2 months when it takes you 8, 10, 12, 40, 50 never years to do it with the rest of them? The flu vaccine only has 50% efficacy.
It's like the first fucking DNA vaccine too. Like it's not even like an old school style vaccine. This is like uncharted territory shit. Like,
and like, it's clear that some of us won't need it either. Like, I'm not gonna take a vaccine that I don't need. Like, blessings up. I haven't gotten COVID yet. All my tests came back negative. I've taken a bunch of them for my work. Like, and I've been out on the ground for shit. Like, my friends even took me to like an anti-mask church service the other day. It was weird. It was a bit weird because like, y'all got, I'm sorry, white people, but y'all got some sus gospel music, but no, like, nobody was masked, and I am feeling great. And like, I've been out at protests, I've been out at protest dance parties, I've been on the ground in general, and I've made it through. So, I thank God, because I'm not going to thank for the government because they didn't do shit for that. And I'm not going to take their fucking vaccine. Monsef Slawi, you can choke on a sack of dicks and a satchel of Richards.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I've worked for months at the beginning of the pandemic. I worked the drive-through window of a Little Caesars. I mean, I'm talking about people coughing, wiping their noses, and pulling money out of their bras. Here you go. Here's the money. I mean, so
everyone knows that tit money has restorative powers, though.
That should not be legal.
No, it doesn't.
Like, I mean, at least take it out before you come up to the register. So I don't know, But but yes, I am relatively young and relatively healthy. I mean, somewhere in between there. But yet again, if this was nearly as deadly as they said that it is, that it can survive on surfaces for weeks on end, and who even knows, because they'll say one thing, the medical professionals like Fauci and the CDC, they'll say one thing and then turn around and then say a completely different thing. And then, a week later, go back to their original position. And it's just, but that's by design. They want to keep people confused. They don't want the truth out there. They want to be able to, with chaos and all these different, facts that they're putting out there, that is a way to keep the fear going. Because if you can't plan, if you don't have knowledge, then you're just going to be afraid. So now we're afraid of Trump. We're afraid of this. We're afraid of that. And I'm just so sick of the fear. And it's just like, when are we going to stop being afraid and start fighting back?
We were told 2.5 million people were going to die.
Yeah. And they've tried, I've heard so many numbers. If you can go on Google and type in any number and then put in, what was it? COVID-19 cases.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And you'll get a statistic back for it. Whatever information
multiple statistics from multiple states with most numbers.
And what's crazy to me is that even though California is doing extreme lockdown now, California is the one that is shutting it down at 10, right? Like there's a curfew at 10.
Yeah.
Is that California? Yeah.
Well, it's not just California. I guess it's Iowa too. And New York. Mitch, you can weigh in on this. You're muted though, sir.
Does it only come out at night? I just don't. It doesn't make any sense.
COVID only comes out at night. It doesn't stay on any surfaces in an Amazon warehouse. It does come out during the day if you are at an anti-lockdown protest, but if you are shoulder to shoulder at a Black Lives Matter protest, COVID doesn't exist, because it's sponsored by the Democratic Party, and things that are sponsored by the Democratic Party, they never actually beat you.
And don't forget, COVID took a day off the day that Joe Biden was declared winner, allegedly, by the Associated Press.
Well, and it took a night off when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. You know, it was fine for hundreds and hundreds of people to gather in front of the Supreme Court, because that was at nighttime. That's when COVID works. You know, but
1,600 plus people or football players play for the NFL. I think, what is it, like 4 have tested positive? I wonder why so little.
We've got
money makers.
No, but they're also, I mean, the NFL athletes in the picture of health, man. That is an athlete in their prime.
No. Hold up. Stop right there. Everybody knows that the decathletes are like football players. They're good. I'll give it to them, but they're like fourth on the list, because before that you have to do basketball players, then you also have to do football players. By football players, I mean soccer players, and then you got to do track athletes, because like track speed and is on a different level of football speed. Like Christian Coleman, when he did that 40-yard dash, he broke y'all's record easy.
Who's y'all?
What?
Who is this y'all?
The football players.
Oh, that's not me. I played European football. I was a soccer player and a hockey player.
Oh,
Mitch, you're muted, Mitch. You need to unmute.
Steve, which position?
I played midfield mostly when I played soccer.
Man,
Midfielder. Yeah.
okay. You, Steve, little white, not French Paul Pogba. Okay.
I was a badass, dude. You don't even
the
know.
number of athletes that are getting COVID between the basketball players and footballers.
What's that?
Could you repeat that?
Is there a difference between the football players and the basketball players who are getting COVID? Because a lot of it seems to be coming down to the vitamin D levels. So if you're in a sport where you practice outside a lot, all throughout the summer, like football, make them go out in hot weather and bang their heads up against things. It's still, they're getting quite a bit of vitamin D3, which seems to be the most major factor, is whether or not you're vitamin D deficient. Now, I don't know if you people have noticed or not, but I'm almost not dark enough to be white. I can get vitamin D3 from the wall here. So
that's a neat trick.
Yeah, but I mean, being out in the sun really helps a lot, and I'm wondering if we're going to see a difference between the athletes that are dark sports, the sports that are held inside, not with a lot of UV.
Well, if it's
That goes for any flu.
Rampant with COVID. Every hockey player on the planet should have COVID.
Yeah, that'll be a thing to watch. This, I mean, it is. The levels are high here. The amount of deaths now have really fallen off. The people who are most likely to die from it have died from it.
And the PCR tests aren't reliable.
Exactly.
I don't have any. I have no idea how well they're working or not.
By their own data, they can throw up to 90% false positives.
Yeah, there are so many ways so many variables that can hit to make anything fail that I wouldn't rely on. I'd like to see the testing just to know what kind of numbers are out there, but I also don't know what the true ability of them to actually work is. When
I think that is
in your car, somebody reaches out with a swab, they stick this Q-tip up your nose, and then it's like they lit a match.
Well, basically what they do is they run the test so many times. There's like cycles in this particular kind of test, as far as I understand it, and they run it at a high amount of times. So that's why they get so many false positives from it. But I'm paying attention to the death rate, and that's stayed low as shit after that first wave. So I don't know. That's all I got to say on it.
What I do know is that power has been consolidated, wealth has been consolidated. There have been just ridiculous mandates to laws that have been passed. We watched the single largest upward transfer of wealth in recorded human history take place under the CARES Act. That's an adorable kitty cat. I know that guys like Peter Thiel are being rewarded for their efforts in helping to make snitch apps and offline, or I'm sorry, online healthcare and a thing. I know that the task force that Joe Biden wants to push together to help roll out Operation Warp Speed, which is started under Donald Trump, is going to take the military operation that it is, and that's NPR describing the rollout of Op Warp Speed as a military operation, not Slow News Day, where we didn't say that. Fucking NPR did. This looks like a military operation. I know that is going to get expanded, and I know that the rollout is going to become accelerated. I know that more speech is going to become criminalized. I know that more people are going to be deplatformed if they dare question the official narrative as dictated from Biden and Harris, because we know it's fucking Camillery's presidency.
Yeah, and we need to just start with the basic facts of, we know our government does not give a damn about our lives. Since when have they ever been concerned with our quality of life or saving our lives or making sure that people don't die? In fact, they do the exact opposite and plan the deaths of people. They don't care. They turn a blind eye to that. And all of a sudden now, they really want to save our lives. They really care about us, right? They're looking out for our safety. And yet, if we're in the middle of a pandemic that's supposedly super deadly and we have no health insurance, people still have to work. They don't get any kind of, critical staffing pay, so they can't afford to call off work. If they do get sick, they can't go to a doctor because they don't have any benefits. So you're basically forcing poor people to go in and work, during a pandemic to save lives. I mean, none of it makes sense. You've got Chris Cuomo's wife doing hot yoga with no mask. Nancy Pelosi getting her hair done with no mask. Gavin what was his name, Lori?
Oh, Gavin McFuck-ass Newsom.
Yeah, Gavin McFuck-ass Newsom hanging out and having dinner parties. Which is it? I mean, I know that they have the best of healthcare. They have millions of dollars to throw at whatever kind of, hospitals say that they need. But at the same time, they're total narcissists and they're always looking out for their best interests. So if they're so scared about this, virus, then why aren't they, are they immune to it somehow? I mean, what is it? So, I mean, it's just all these backwards. I cannot stand the double standard. It drives me crazy because it's like it's so much hypocrisy and they want us. I mean, get your narrative straight. Like if you're going to lie to me and try to like manipulate me and get me to do these things that you want me to do, well, at least get your narrative straight. It's like the whole thing with Russiagate. It's the whole thing. Like they just say whatever just comes out of their mouth. Like when you look at all their statements and all their actions, none of it matches up. When you look at their actions versus what they preach, whether it's coronavirus or whether it's, election integrity, what they say and what they do never matches up. And that's why it blows my mind that there's still people out there that still believe that like the Democratic Party is still good, that they look out for them. I'm like, okay, so blue is better than red, but tell me, what has blue done for you, your community, your family? I mean, give me three things that the Democrats have done. One. Give me one. You can't. But when these people are pressed on it, that's usually about the time that you get blocked. Like that's when they just shut down. their brain just like it reaches max capacity, it shuts down, you get blocked, you get called a Trump supporter, and then they just peace out of the conversation.
Well, and our ability to have these conversations face to face, like they need to take place, like they have to occur in order for any sort of real dialogue to take place, that's been taken away from us. Now we can only talk to people in the digital space, because if you go out in at least in California, they're fucking. When I was eating lunch today, somebody from the county pulled up to the restaurant to make sure that there were no customers inside, that the people who were working were all masked up, that the diners, you're allowed to take your mask off. This is how ridiculous it is. You're allowed to take your mask off outside as long as you're at your table and there's food or drink in front of you. So what the restaurant is doing is, as soon as you sit down, they've got a plate of something that gives you a reason to take your mask off before your drinks even get there.
Okay, it's a little bit different in Iowa. We're allowed to take our masks off once we sit at a table inside. So once you've come into the place, you can take your masks off. And basically, in the less populated towns, they don't even wear masks. You go in, the restaurant's full, no masks. These small places are still operating in the small towns in Iowa. Today, I went to a mall, the largest mall in several county area. And there was only a few stores left. Everything else was just glassed off. All the stores are gone. The jobs are gone. The restaurants are empty. It was just maybe 10 stores in a mall that used to have maybe 100 stores. And, what did people used to do? A lot of people worked retail. Gone. If people weren't working retail, what was the next place that people worked? Restaurants. They're gone. So if it's like this here, where we're still allowed to use restaurants and stuff, and the restaurants are going under because not enough people have jobs to eat. What's it like in the populated states? I take it you guys might not even know that Iowa got hit by something called a derecho. It started in South Dakota, and it went all the way to Ohio.
That was
over
crazy.
700 miles. And it had the force of a Category 5 hurricane. 70% of Iowa's crops were gone, and it wasn't just the corn. It was soybean. It was chicken. They had to kill the chickens because there wasn't going to be feed for them this winter. Now, the other thing people don't realize is Iowa is also the leading place for eggs used to make vaccines. Those chickens had to be killed. So we're supposed to be making all these vaccines. Where are they going to get the eggs? So now it's going to take another 2 years to ramp up the chickens.
That's
You
crazy.
need one egg, one dose.
The 20 million vaccines that are on standby to be rolled out in a couple of weeks, they clearly had enough eggs for that, or they've synthesized the process, which just opens up a whole new weirder can of worms.
Well, if the rest of the country doesn't know that Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and the Dakota and even Nebraska lost a large portion of their crops, there's a lot of food that's lost. But what don't we know about you guys? What's going on in California? What's it look like? Is it California anymore?
Everyone's we have, like, there's homeless everywhere. Like, everyone is fucked, basically. No one has a job. Like, we're about to get a wave of evictions that's going to be just downright frightening. I mean, it's bad here. It's bad.
We also had wildfires come through and take out millions of acres. In my county alone, 1,000 houses and outbuildings burned. These people are just, and I know them, they're friends, and they're fucked. and they're getting fucked over by FEMA. They're getting fucked over by their insurance company. Everybody really wanted to cut them a check right at the beginning, and people were desperate, so they took the check, and now the insurance company goes, yeah, that was the check. Maybe you should have negotiated. Click. And that's how people are getting done. We also just lost the opportunity for Uber drivers and Lyft drivers and whatnot to have a shot at turning that into a livable, workable, manageable profession. That got voted down. Unprecedented amount of money spent by corporate fucksticks made sure that died. We in Santa Cruz County, where I live, we're back up to the purple tier lockdowns. Purple bad, purple very bad. And that means that if your bar doesn't serve food, it's closed. That means you cannot attend church, but you can attend a winery, because it's California. So we keep the wineries open.
I mean, everything.
You can't go to a funeral, but you can go get shit housed in the hills somewhere and get in your car and drive away.
We can have church services here. We can have funerals as long as there's a minister. That's it's like so. We just had our new rules put out here, so we're a little bit different on that. I just feel that what's the minister do to save you from COVID? So they can't. Yeah, they can't.
They couldn't pray the gay out of Mike Pence. They're not going to cure COVID.
Well,
No.
I wanted to add too, after the first lockdown, every single small business except one restaurant within 2 miles of me is gone. I mean, they're boarded up and gone. And this second one, there's going to be no small business where I'm at, and that was the majority of employment here. I mean, it's going to be bad where I'm at, Steve. It's already bad. You know where I live, but it's I'm downright frightened for how bad the city's going to get.
And Stockton's going to be more emblematic of what happens to California than Boulder Creek or LA. Overall, what happens in Stockton is going to be repeated and has been repeated in medium-sized towns all over California. People get stuck thinking that California is only LA, maybe San Diego if they remember it exists, and then San Francisco and Oakland, and maybe Sacramento if they remember it exists. But California is giant, and most of it is small and medium-sized towns, and most of those towns are just all the way up Schitt's Creek. And there's no we're going to return to normal. There's no we're going to go back to the way things was about it. That's not going to happen. And even if they tried, all it would do is recreate the exact conditions that allowed for a fake demagogical fucking not really a populist like Donald Trump to assume, a position of perceived power inside of Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Well, the main thing we need to restart
at all. Normal was not good enough before. Normal gave us Trump. Normal gave us endless wars for profit. Normal gave us poverty wages, the working poor, no health care, racism, poor education. That's what normal gave us. So if that's what normal is, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want to go back to it. I don't want people to feel comfortable. I don't want people to feel like everything's going to be okay because, the Democrats are in charge or because the Republicans are in charge. People need to start getting really comfortable with being uncomfortable because that's what it's going to take. They're not going to give us power. We're not going to vote our way into it, by voting for a Democrat and oh, dang it, man, you won. I guess we're going to have to give up all of our power. That's not you. I mean, we lost fair and square. They're not going to do that. When they own every single part of the election system, when they own the media, when they own everything in our lives that tells us, what to think and how to act, that's just not going to happen. So I just don't get where people think that they're going to show up and vote or, sign a petition on, we are change, and they just think like, that's it, problem solved, everything's done. I can go to brunch because, Biden won the presidency. It's just insane to me.
So if this is the full rollout of UN Agenda 2030, like Justin Trudeau said it was on camera just last week, looked right there with them purty hypnotic guys and said, yeah, we're right in
back better.
That's how he started it. Build back better, which Joe Biden tried for his campaign. And the origin of that was the World Economic Forum. That's where that slogan came out. Build back better was used in a number of different countries for a number of different purposes. It really had nothing to do with politics. But neither does Joe Biden. Like Joe Biden is there to be the conduit between those World Economic Forum psychopaths and the vision for the future that they see. That's what Biden is. That's what Kamala Harris is. Like, they're not even puppets. They're a fucking tube in the ground through which other people's ideas flow.
I mean, I think it was Kamala Harris. It was Kamala Harris. I think during the vice presidential debate that she said, well, I don't know, if Trump tells me to get a vaccine, I won't do it. But if Biden tells me to do it, I'll do it. But it's the same vaccine. Make up your mind. Like, it was so ignorant. I mean, I hope that most people can see through this. And I think that they can because, most people have checked out of the voting process because they know, it's
I disagree with that. Even with the numbers being inflated a little bit, like 145 million people, 147 million people voted. That's 20 million more altogether than in the 2016 election. It's like 35 million more than in the 2012 election. I know that there are segments that, and this is why it sucks having to spend as much time online as we're forced to spend nowadays, especially if your job requires it. Thankfully, mine doesn't, but you get the semblance that like a lot of people on Twitter is equal to a lot of people in terms of the population, and something like less than 3% of the country is on Twitter. I might be wrong about that. Or at least political Twitter, not Twitter in general.
I think there's a difference.
Yeah, but political Twitter, and certainly like a fucking percentage, a tenth of that is left Twitter, or woke Twitter or truther Twitter or whatever it's not a lot of people. It's not enough people. It's why we keep bringing it up on different shows, on different platforms with different content creators, because it a recognized national post-partisan movement. And without that, we just get another color revolution brought to you by either the CIA or George Soros. Yeah. We get another fucking we get another fake populist. We get another fake, progressive. Like, they're gonna have to retire that word and come up with something even dumber and cuter in order to like hook the next generation of progressives and to get them to think that it's a legitimate pathway to a sustainable future. Like it's gonna have to be an entirely different word. I don't know what I don't know, and I'm not
Democracy
trying.
enthusiast.
Right? I
The
fucking
I
voting,
like
look,
that.
to me, it's the U.S. voting republic who needs to take a stand. It's been called that since day one. The U.S. voting republic needs to come out and say, look, we know you don't give a shit about us because you're not giving us hazard pay. You're not giving us health care. You're not giving us a living wage. And the list fucking goes on. But for some reason, you guys care about us with this COVID thing because you're going for our safety. You're locking us down and keeping us away from each other. Blah, 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 bullshit. Okay, so whatever new word we want to come out with, it's like you're saying, we've got to come out and take these certain steps, all these activities, everything together. I'm saying, hey, if you're doing your taxes, pay your state, fuck your federal, right? Claim 10 for a single person, whatever. And whatever that's necessary that needs to be done. But the thing is when you're these people, and I say this all the time, it's a gigantic, monolithic marketing and advertising fucking monsters. It's gigantic, and you're competing with. We're just look. We've got thousands of people maybe watching this over the next year or two. Who knows? But there's a lot of little channels like this that are growing and getting better. That's great. But you're talking MSNBC has 1.5 or 2 million people on per day, et cetera, and all these other giant cable news networks. And they use these narratives and these talking points, and they all talk about the same thing. It is an advertising monopoly that's controlling the minds of so many people out there. So I always tell people, I always say, look, I get it. It's not really your fault. You're up against the Godzillas and the Rodans of marketing and advertising. It's very fucking hard not to be plastered with what they can fucking do to you. And they do it so well. Look, I've been in marketing. I've been in advertising. You know, circle is good. Round is not that good. Red means you're hungry. Green means you want to be sexy. There's these different tactics and the way they do all these things. And they get these people in the fucking, and they get their everything they have. They get them in the balls of the fucking, in their hands, like constantly. And I watch it and I see it. And as I'm going through Facebook, as I'm going through Twitter, as I'm going through every chats and super chats, I'm just watching all these people being just easily, I don't like to say meek, malleable, or obedient, but they become that. And I'm sorry, it's not your fault. It's hard to compete with the gurus of Harvard and Yale that are putting together these gigantic campaigns just to make sure that you're going to be controlled to do what you need to do for them, for the corporate elite 1%, and it's just. It's a gigantic process. That's another process. I don't know why we're not fucking storming CNN, honestly. I don't know why we're not going into MSNBC and saying, fuck you, Matt Al. We're sick of your Russiagate and your wars. You know, fuck you, Hannity. We're sick of all your other shit. You know, I'd like to see those two get in a fucking, like a
cage fight,
like mud fight or something. Or, yeah, something like that. Like, put them in a fucking, like a big, sit down. What is those gigantic little not bathtubs, but pools, little pool or something like that? Throw some mud in it and let them fucking go at it, right? Pay-per-view, done deal.
That's where we're
Jacuzzi rumble.
I think that's where we're at. I think everybody would like that anyway.
I feel like we should start with members of the World Economic Forum and the Bilderberg Group and
Davos,
the Bohemian Grove Club, and I think that by the time we get down to the fucking bottom feeding parasites in corporate media and the ones in independent media who have just completely fucking torched the minds of so many people. By the time we get to those guys, hopefully they're singing a much different tune, because clearly they're going to bend their own personal arc towards whomever is in power. And they've proven themselves to be useful idiots. So maybe there's a place for them, picking vegetables or working a loom. Wouldn't you rather have Sean Hannity working a loom than fucking half naked in the mud, like, for entertainment? I know I would.
Nah, the guy
I don't know where that came from.
Maybe fully clothed. I
the
don't
guy would
know.
Where's my mind?
Wait, so it's not totally unnoticed though.
Like celebrity deathmatch. I don't,
Okay. To backtrack a bit, really appreciate the Godzilla reference. Rodan, definitely one of the faves. I don't, and like this is kind of tying in, but I think is now a good time to bring up the Berlin protests, or
Absolutely, because we should probably wrap in the next 15 or 20 minutes. So please bring that up.
okay, yeah, I want to get this story out there because there was an act in Germany's parliament that got approved in both houses, I'm pretty sure, called the Infection Protection Act, which in short, it provides more legal basis for the lockdown measures. So basically what happened was there was thousands of people that turned out to protest them, and I have a video of the police response. Should I show that, or does video work over? Yeah, okay. I don't know if video works over the screen share, but I'll try.
It'll work, but the audio might be fucked off, and everybody needs to mute real quick, I think, if she's gonna play video.
Okay, can you see it right now?
No.
No? How do I do it? Wait. Is it working?
Nope.
Why not?
You get the monitor thing in between.
Send me a link, Glory, and I'll put it.
Yeah.
No, links in the element chat.
Where at? How far up?
Way far up.
No, it's like one of the. Hold up.
I missed it.
Oh, I'm in the wrong room.
It's above the thumbnail picture.
Oh, okay, I see it. Hold on. I'll just bring it up. Give me a second.
God damn, that jumped around quite a bit.
I'm doing it Alex Hill style.
They're out of fucks to give in Germany right now.
Yeah.
For people who culturally really enjoy their order, they're raising a bit of hell. And good on them, but of course the police are answering.
All right, I've got it up.
Again, we've had massive anti-lockdown protests all over Europe, and not even the European media is covering it. Do you think the United States media is going to talk about that shit? No.
Nope.
All right, I'm gonna bring it up.
All right.
Man, they like their water cannons.
And now I'm having flashbacks of Occupy Oakland.
Hey, my peoples are getting rowdy, man.
But that's the Berlin police. That's the Berlin police unloading on what appear to be entirely unarmed protesters with water cannons and tear gas. If you're getting images of Standing Rock running around in your head, yeah, absolutely, it's reminiscent of that. And honestly, if the German government is questioned about this, all they have to do is say, "Well, your Peace Prize winning president rolled out water cannons throughout his president, and tear gas basically replaced apple pie with what you know to be truly American."
Yeah, and let me point out the irony as well of posing to care about public health and wanting to prevent people from getting sick while simultaneously spraying water on people
It looked
in
cold
the
too.
winter, basically.
It looked cold as shit.
Like no irony there.
We're talking about 40 lower than 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So you have water sprayed on you at less than 40 degrees Fahrenheit. You could be in a fatal situation in 8 minutes.
Yeah.
If you got less than 32, you could be in a fatal situation in less than a minute.
Yeah,
so,
and the water cannons weren't the only thing either. As you kind of saw in the video, people were arrested. I think overall, like hundreds were detained out of the thousands of people there, and people were also getting maced there as well. So it wasn't just water cannons; you also got a nice taste of the mace. So, but yeah, just look at these powerhouse democracies in action.
It's good to see.
That's an excellent point, Glory, because I mean, we saw the same thing when it came to the DAPL protests, right? Blasting people with water cannons in freezing weather. Just this is for your protection. This is for your own good. That we're going to blast your arm off, blind you, beat you. We're cracking your skull for your own good. Don't you get it yet? Just go home and shut up and turn on the mainstream media news. And don't have an opinion, don't have a thought, don't think about things too much. Just shut up and listen to us because we've got it all figured out. And we have your best interest at heart because, I mean, here, we don't have health insurance. We don't have anything else when it comes to our greater good. But, now all of a sudden, let's trust them.
Yeah.
I like seeing my German peoples fucking get all rowdy, though. I ain't gonna lie.
I know, bro. Why can't we do that here? Like,
we do that here, and we did that during Occupy, and we got our fucking heads bashed in, and we did that for putting a stop to SOPA and PIPA, and we got our fucking heads bashed in, and we kept going, and then Ferguson happened, and we did that at Ferguson, and we got our fucking heads bashed in, and fewer people showed up next time. And then throughout 2016, when we were protesting a rigged election, they fucking did everything but beat the shit out of people. They didn't get too violent in Philadelphia at the convention. They didn't, because they had everybody a mile and a half away from the fucking convention center in order to do the protesting in the free speech zone.
Fuck the free speech zone. That's the most dumbass bullshit ever. Like, they be setting those up in LA like, oh, it's okay, press. You have free speech zones that's only 40 blocks away. So the only people that can obtain footage are the cops. Goody. Oh my God, Sheriff a la cunt bitch nueva, we got you coming, bro. We gonna be surveilling them from helicopters and pointing cameras directly at them and everything. It's like, fuck these surveillance pieces of shit.
Agreed.
Yep.
All right. Well, we've been going about 2 hours. And is that meeting actually happening, Josh?
Hell no.
Or did
We're not doing that
Did
shit
they
tonight.
postpone it?
I postponed it. We're gonna
Postponed it.
We're gonna do it
Okay.
after the vigil because we got to go through that fucking witness that closing
Okay.
statement.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. Neat.
We
I
do it
don't
live.
We do it
have
live.
To go to
This is our
immediately after this. I'm
this is our-
stoked on that.
This is our production meeting, y'all.
Yeah.
So scripted, guys. Cashing checks as we speak. Y'all, I am so hyped because, I'm off the Kremlin payroll, but, my man Raul Castro and my man Nicolas Maduro hit me up. I'm about to get on that Latin American payroll. They going to pay me in Guevara dollars. Like, let's go. You know where it's at.
Those are the good communist dollars, too.
Yeah.
They are.
I'm rich, bitch.
Yeah.
I'm it. Look at Chappelle.
Oh my god, that was all right. That was good.
I'm actually. Fun fact: I'm pretty good at impressions, Steve.
Yeah.
That was a great
that was fucking decent, man. I was.
decent Chappelle, bro.
Well Chappelled.
It brings my daughter endless joy.
I bet. Well, Mitch, Stevie, James, please give some final thoughts and let people know where they can find you and let people know what's going on with the show.
You can find me on Twitter at _Redneckonomics. I've got a YouTube channel, Redneckonomics. Pretty much just type in Redneckonomics, you'll find me. So, I mean, it's, pretty much cornered the market on that one. So you can find me on there. I've been working with the Natural Progressive and Roar Media, doing more live streams with them.
Saw them in
James.
the chat earlier too.
What was that?
Saw Roar Media in the chat
I missed
earlier.
that. And we've got our nonprofit that we're working on, nonpartyvoters.org, where we're trying to, take back power from the duopoly and give it back to the people, because, they cannot be trusted. Any party cannot be trusted with power. No politician can be trusted with power. So we're trying to get the power away from them and give it back to the people. So that's what we're working on there. And anything else?
Listen, you guys, thank you so much. I just want to do a quick shout out to Denmark, okay, because they were able to protest and do everything they needed to do to stand out there to stop their lockdowns and their mask and all their fucking bullshit that they're also having to go through on a not a better end, but the crappier end of the stick. British Columbia just approved it's okay for minorities about 11 years old to take a vaccine without their parents.
But just minorities?
Not minorities. Not minorities.
Minors. I was like, how the fuck does that work? Really? That's fucking... I'm surprised this is the first time hearing of that.
I would have expected that out of Biden.
Oh, Mitch for the win.
They're giving children. They're just giving children the ability to take a fucking vaccine. It's pretty fucked up. And the minor children, of course, too. That's fucking
dope.
Okay. Anyway, thank you guys. This is James. I have a show called Monotalk. Been doing it for years. Look, I'm not there to sell T-shirts or coffee cups. I'm just there to kind of share the information that I'm gathering from people like Steve and Stevie and you and Snork and Josh and everybody else and everybody out there, just to make sure that if you do believe that where you're getting your information from is solid, just always do your own due diligence. Chickadee check yourself before you wreck yourself. Make sure that you're checking your own stuff, and and not getting too crazy with the minorities.
You're not my supervisor.
we gotta do this again sometime. This was a great conversation.
Oh my god, I cracked myself up. It's terrible.
Final thoughts, Mitch?
I don't have a show. In fact, I'm kind of stepping back into the darkness here, being a little bit less public. My job, we're not allowed to have certain opinions, so
it was good talking to you. Thanks for sharing all that information.
Frustrating. But I'd like to participate when I can, and a lot of times I have to hold back what I say. So I can't talk about bags of anything.
Yeah, Snork is always a good addition to have. I mean, he's absolutely brilliant in several different areas: engineering, science, farming. I mean, kind of a jack of all trades. So.
Yeah, my suggestion is everybody get a supply of mung beans and rice. Mung bean seeds. You can grow them in the dark. They grow in 4 days. If you plant any other food, it takes 30 days to 72 days before you can see anything to eat. Mung beans you can eat in 4 days. The sprouts. So you can make some rice, put some mung beans in it, and that is enough to sustain you for months. Right now, the grocery stores are just running out of everything.
There will not be a squirrel in 30 miles. Like, if it comes down to it. I mean, I'm
tonight mode.
I'm gonna go after him. There won't be a turkey. I'll have the time and the patience to go after the quail. Like, if it gets really fucked up, dude. Oh yeah, no, we're eating. But I do want to have you on to talk about some. I want to talk gardening. I want to talk alternative energy. There's a couple of things that I want to have a conversation with you about.
Oh, okay. Our buddy Lucas, just real quick. Lucas that does live streams with us. I forget his last name, but you gotta meet him. He's like what, 19 years old, Snork, and yeah. he's up there with just about on Snork's level with what he knows when it comes to self-sustained living, gardening, farming and stuff like that. I mean, he's absolutely brilliant. So, I mean, he's definitely worth bringing on too.
Yeah, Lucas is good at farming in the light. He uses sunlight. I farm in the dark.
Yeah, I want both. We need
good.
We need to teach our communities how to fucking grow their own food, like now.
Yeah.
Behind me is a farm, and over there I'm not growing pot. Pot is going to be worth like $1 a pound in 5 years. Black pepper is going to be worth $100 a pound in 5 years. So I'm trying to learn how to grow the other foods that people need flavors.
Oh yeah.
And over in this other corner of the room, you might hear occasionally the computers talking. So I've got like little snack peppers over there. Fantastic. You can have a constant supply of them in just a tiny little space with 7 watts of electrical use per hour.
I'm an indoor gardener. You definitely have to come on again to talk about this stuff.
So thanks for having me on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just saw in the chat, Jack says, "Say, can McAfee get us an island?"
Not currently.
McAfee can't do anything but sit right now. But
long live the Pirate King.
Because of that, because Glory did name me interim president, and I have decided that my vice president is going to be a co-vice president, and that's going to be Kendra Christian and John McAfee's pirate yacht. So we will have the pirate yacht in my interim administration. And again, DMT is now mandatory. All political prisoners, especially Julian Assange, but all political prisoners are hereby pardoned, charges dropped if that's the case. And we are going to begin a peaceful dissolving of the federal government.
Nice.
Yeah. Glory, what you got?
Listen, tengo dinero de los comunistas, estoy grifting y por eso recibo el dinero de Che Guevara, de Fidel Castro y Raúl Castro y Nicolás Maduro y todos los comunistas. Like, we out here. We're grifting all day, every day. But seriously, though, like, thanks for joining us, guys, for this long talk. Like, your takes are awesome. Thanks, everyone here, including everyone in the chat, for listening to my rants, as always. It's not new at this point, but thanks. Always appreciate it. And yeah, really excited to be on the Latin communist payroll. It's gonna bring a whole new levels to this grid. So hasta siempre.
Muy dinero, muy dinero.
Hasta siempre.
Actual ghost dollars. Like, no, because really there are no.
Hasta siempre, tío Steve. Somos chavistas.
That's gonna do it for the show. Thank you all for being on. Do go check out Stevie and James's shows, and if you're on the tweeters or the Facebooks, go find them there. I deleted my Facebook on election day, and I feel so much fucking lighter. Oh my god, it's so nice. It's so nice. It's so nice. It's so nice. If you are not already watching this on the Rockfin, that is what you need to do next, is go get your free Rockfin account. All of my stuff and the vigils always will be free, at least for 24 to 48 hours. Sometimes it's 3 or 4 days before I remember to go switch it over to premium. Like, really, I'm bad at this shit. I'm bad at this shit. It's not my strong suit. The trying to like generate income out of it part, or marketing part, I suck out loud at that. At any rate, you should go make that free Rockfin account, because when YouTube kicks us off of their platform, that is where you'll primarily find our stuff. We're also on D Live and Odyssey, so there are options outside of the Googles, which is nice, because I have no idea how much longer we're going to be allowed to have this show. I'm always like kind of surprised every day.
Push the site.
Like, oh, and the entire Slow News Day archive and the free Assange vigils, or at least quite a few of them, are up on slownewsdayshow.com. I would like to build it out a little bit. We have permission to reprint all of Caitlin Johnstone's work, as do you. Everyone has permission to reprint Caitlin Johnstone's work. We are also going to be able to host any and all of Vanessa Beeley's content. So whatever she decides to write, we get to republish over there. I'm probably gonna fuck around a little bit and tinker on them keys.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. It's been a minute.
I'm gonna hold you to that shit now. You realize?
I know, dude. I know, but I will. I promise.
I want that
will.
fucking book.
SlowNewsDayShow.com. 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 And Rockfin. If you do endorse a content creator on Rockfin, you're welcome to endorse the show. It's $9.99 a month, and then you get everybody's premium content. Whereas on like Patreon, you have to spend X amount of dollars per content creator to, it's in some cases to unlock certain levels. God, how just, oh.
I don't have time to manage your goddamn Patreon. I can't.
Oh,
do it. I think I still give you money on Patreon, but like I'm not managing that shit.
It's like clickbait. Patreon is like clickbait. Okay,
you want more content.
You want to see me in my.
Fucking put anything on Patreon. I don't even know why I have it.
Yeah,
to be perfectly honest. So if you do support the show on Patreon, cancel that shit and go support the show on Rockfin if you're still inclined to support the show. Like that's where our stuff is. That's where we're making our home when we get kicked off out of here. They started the platform with having it be as content creator friendly as possible as like their primary goal. So they're not they're like the anti YouTube.
I'm also working on a PeerTube instance for Slow News Day. So
yes,
Oh yeah. And of course you can find me on TikTok.
No.
What?
No.
What?
There's
He's
no
lying.
Slow News Day TikTok. Are you kidding me?
Nice try, old man.
I ain't doing that fucking. I don't have time. I don't have time to do that editing, Steve.
Yeah.
Fuck no. No. That's funny though. At any rate, y'all, I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out. And we'll catch you really soon. Good luck to us all. Are we?
Yeah. I went back.
Okay. Shit. My God. Thank you, Glory. Sunday. It is November 22nd, which is the day that John F. Kennedy was murdered. We are going to commemorate JFK Murder Day by having a panel discussion / theory or knowledge off with Craig Pasta Jardula, Jason Burmis, and Jared Beck. And holy crap, is that going to be freaking wild. Then shortly afterwards for the Rockfin only show, Eric Jackman will be on with us from Jackman Radio. The dude does the fucking best Alex Jones I've ever heard in my entire life. You guys probably know Eric. He's a friend of the show. He's a friend of the Assange Vigil. Been on Burmis's show a lot of times. That's who he was with when they went and hunted down the place where Ghislaine Maxwell was hiding out. Which if you didn't see that shit, it was fucking it was wild. Eric will be on. Lisa Pease just reached out to me this morning, who is a just like next level researcher writer about JFK and his assassination and what happened afterwards and what happened leading up to it. She's in at least in the Corbett documentary, Lee Harvey Oswald, Sheep Dipped Patsy. If you haven't seen that, it's pretty fucking wild. But yeah, so she'll be on at some point. I'm actually trying to see if I can get her on with Eric. That might be fucking fun. At any rate, that's what's going on Sunday, and holy crap, make sure you're there for it, because dude, You kidding me? Jared Beck and Pasta and fucking Burmis, me and Glory shot like all in the same room talking JFK. Like that shit's gonna be fun.
Bring your trees.
Huh?
I said, bring the trees.
Yeah. Grab snacks and like your favorite buzz.
Dude,
Just
I'm psyched
pull
for
up
it.
for that one.
I'm psyched
Pull
for
up
it. You got
for it.
conspiracy theories from my favorite people in media. I mean, this is gonna be good.
Hell yeah.
All right, y'all. That's gonna do it. We love you guys. Good luck to us all.